I'm Pete Newman. I work for the SA Arid Lands NRM board. I'm the Carbon Extension Officer and Industry Support Officer, working with pastoralists across the SA Arid Lands. Since the Paris Accord in 2015, and there's been a concerted effort on countries around the world to reduce emissions. The two ways you can go about either reducing emissions into the atmosphere or capturing carbon out of the atmosphere. One way, of course, is to shut down power stations, is to reduce emissions from vehicles or from animals. The other way, of course, is to capture carbon from the atmosphere in soil and in vegetation, like this is the stuff that's around us here. Both of those can earn you money in Australia in the current carbon market. Carbon credits can be earned through reducing your emissions from factories, from vehicles, from power stations, and landholders can earn carbon credits by capturing carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and turning it into wood, basically, or into stable carbon in the soil. The potential in the rangelands is phenomenal for carbon farming because of the scale of the rangelands. So very small amounts of uptake of carbon over a 5,000 square kilometre property results in a very, very large amount of carbon taken out of the atmosphere. There is also the opportunity for pastoralists to enter the carbon market through the other side of the equation, that's the emissions reduction. Cattle, sheep and animals on pastoral properties put out methane, they put out carbon dioxide through their rumen. The SA Arid Lands Carbon Farming Project is investigating the opportunities for landholders in the arid lands to enter the carbon market either through sequestration or emissions reduction programs. We're doing studies on properties, on 14 properties, and we're looking at some case studies. And our approach is to examine the business as usual on a property, examine what they're actually doing now and how much money they're making out of their land, and compare that with potential carbon farming activities like sequestration or emissions reduction programs. We've finished working on the policy side of things and trying to we have put together policy recommendations to the government. We've also put together a number of guides for landholders who want to enter the carbon farming market on the assumption that it will go ahead in the arid lands. These guides take existing information from the federal government websites and the federal government's policies and market processes and adapt them to the arid lands and make it suitable and addresses the issues which are important to the arid landholders. We've also done a guide to help landholders negotiate native title when undertaking carbon farming projects. The other thing that's happening with this project is that we're doing 14 feasibility studies on properties, and the idea there is to take a landholder's current operation, analyse that at some depth and work out what they're actually getting from their land, how much money they're making from their 1,000 square kilometres of sheep or cattle station, and then compare that with a potential carbon farming program. And the way we do that is we model the pastoral operation in a computer program. Once that's running and showing the business as usual, we then compare that with carbon at various carbon prices, emissions reduction activities, vegetation sequestration activities, and we can switch on different elements within there. We can vary the carbon price. The landholder keeps all that, so they can use that to manage their business, and later on, if somebody comes knocking on the door and saying, well, look, we've got a deal for you, are you interested? They can actually enter the parameters or the deal into this computer program and be able to compare how much they might make out of carbon versus running sheep, for example, because we're definitely trying to make sure that whatever happens with carbon farming in the arid lands, that pastoral operations run as normal, and this becomes a little extra income or a bit of a diversification to the property to make them a stronger business and pastoral enterprise. We're not making recommendations about what they should do at this stage. We are suggesting that they keep an open mind and that landholders keep up to speed with the knowledge through our website and contacting myself at the Arid Lands, so that if opportunities do come along, And the opportunities will probably come from the commercial sector, from aggregators and carbon companies knocking on their door and saying, look, we've got a deal for you, are you interested? At least at that point, instead of having to race off and find out what's going on, they'll have some background knowledge and some understanding of the marketplace.